Okay, as Tanya mentioned earlier, I'm going to be giving you some Black history facts and a little bit of history, y'all. So come on in and listen, take notes, and when you begin to look at this video, if you have questions or some feedback, the questions I'll try and answer. If you got feedback, of course, I'm always glad to hear feedback and know what you feel and think and what you know even. So this is just going to be short and sweet because this is going to kick off Black History Month as far as I'm concerned on Come On In. And as you can see, I've got some of my books set up because this year I'm not physically able to set up that Black History display like I normally do at the Arts Council. I really am going to miss doing that this year, but of course, health first. So, but I could not just go without sharing some of all these things that I have. And if I misspeak or something like that, I'm sure y'all will correct me and give me the right information because I don't want any wrong information being out there. So let's just get started with some of these books that I've got. I love pretty books. I love nice things, period. But I love pretty books. Some of these books I've had 10, 15, 20 years. That first one I've had about a good 20 years, which is Sepia Dreams. And what it does, it celebrates Black achievements through words and through poetry. So, of course, you see some famous faces on there: Loretta Devine, um, Tyra Banks, and a couple of others on there. So it just talks about that. But I thought it was such a pretty book. I put it out there and let y'all see it. If you have the opportunity to go by the library or if they still have them in print, you can probably buy it for real cheap now. But I bought it almost 20 years ago, so I paid the full price. But it has some beautiful, beautiful pictures in there. If you're one that likes to cut pictures out and, make a picture collage or just keep them in the book like I've done. And that next book there, of course, is Frederick Douglass, one of our famous educators. And of course, the book was written by William S. Freely, McFeely, I'm sorry. The next book there is called The Spirit of African American Design. I bought that book. I paid a lot of money for that little book about 20 years ago. But because I love African design and all the beautiful colors and patterns, I purchased that book just to have it to sit on an end table or coffee table and to use in my displays as well. So, beautiful books that give history about African Americans is just one of those things that I love to do and have always, over the years, loved to do. That next book chronicles Michael Jackson's life through 2009. There again, I love beautiful things, so it has beautiful, beautiful pictures in there. And it's something I've enjoyed over the years. And I think I probably have had that 10, 15 years as well. That last book that you see sitting up high, it says African American Music Trails. This is a book that was put together right here in North Carolina, and what the National Arts Council did, or I should say the State Arts Council, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina, they put together that book, and it features all of the local artists all throughout North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina. I tell you, uh, I was able to get a couple copies of it when I was doing some work down at the local arts council here. Uh, I was getting chill bumps up and down my spine when I began to look because guess what? My county, my city was in there with people right from this very area were featured in that book. The book is awesome. You can purchase it online. It's called The African American Music Trails of Eastern North Carolina. So you can just go online and look for it if you'd like to have a copy. And I'm sure probably other cities or states maybe have that same type of book. So if you're interested to that degree in what goes on musically or artistically, you can go check it out. But that's just some little fill-in information that I thought I'd bring to your attention during this Black History Month. So let me just give you a few Black History facts, and like anything else, you sort of need to start at the beginning. So I'm going to take a seat over here at the table and talk to you for a few minutes about some other Black History facts. Okay, so here I am. I'm gonna get in my little chair here, and I do hope my head's not cut off on this. I hope. I'm doing my own cinematography tonight, today rather. Okay, first thing I want to talk about is uh, a person that's very near and dear to my heart. I took this course. I had the opportunity. I went back to school a few years ago, and I had the opportunity to take a African American history course. And the book that was used to do that study was written by John Hope Franklin and Alfred Moss Jr. Now, if anybody knows anything about any kind of African American history, you know John Hope Franklin is one of the premier people who was a great historian. He was an educator. He lived right here in North Carolina. As a matter of fact, he lived right up the road there in Durham. So this book is called From Slavery to Freedom. It is a wonderful, wonderful book written by a very smart man. I mean, this chronicles information from back in before the 1200s, all the way through. I hope you can see pretty good. But you can probably check it out at the library or check out some of your bookstores. They may still have this book in print. And it gives you a full history of where our ancestors are, and some of the things that happened during the 1200s. So, okay. So that book right there is a good little book to look at. And like I said, I'm just going to highlight some things. And before I go too far, I don't want to forget to mention the father of Black History Month. As we know, February has been dubbed, well, it used to be Black History Week. And Carter G. Woodson was the person, he was a historian, and he was the one that got Black History Week going. So now it's evolved into Black History Month. Yes. And from that, many other things have been put together. And one of the things that I am very, very proud of, and I haven't gotten there yet, but to see the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. Now, everyone that has gone has said it is something to see, and that everyone should go and, at least have 3 or 4 days to spend in there so that you can go through and look at the entire exhibit. I am told it is out of this world with all the artifacts and the history, and just to see it, it just gives you chill bumps. So if you get a chance to go to DC, please go by the African American Art Museum and check it out. Now, one of the other things that will give you some insight into early history. When I was working, one of my responsibilities was to present African American history as it was back then and in the present. And we had what we call multicultural celebration. So not only did I have to do African American history, I had to do Hispanic, the Asian Pacific, just all history, even American history. So we always did something for each one of the cultures. So of course, being African American, I became very interested in African American history, and people started to give me things. I've got pictures and books and information, stacks and tons of information that I can share. That's why it was so hard for me this year not to be able to set up a display. So I thought, well, I can do this from home, and it's not going to take a lot for me to do. So one of the things that I have in this album here, I put together this just a picture album, just a regular picture album. I have 2 of these, and someone gave me all of these black and white 8x10 photos of famous African Americans and some of the contributions that they made. But one of the things that I got on my own, I was always reading through the Ebony magazine, and one of the articles that was printed by Lerone Bennett, he was a great historian in his own right. So let me just I want to get the right thing out. I want to get this. So it says the 10 most dramatic events in African American history. I thought this was just one of the greatest articles that I had come across as I was doing my back then when I got a hold of this magazine. I think it was 1992. So I've had this since 1992, and I put it in this book here, and I I started, this is one of the first pieces of African American history that I used as a display item. So one of uh, the first, if you can see, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to put these up there like that. This is the first one. There are 10 of these important events that took place in African American history. So the first one is, it talks about the Black coming. Of course, you know that refers to, it says it was 244 years before the Mayflower happened, and it was like, it was, let's see, let's just read this so we'll get it right. A year before the arrival of the celebrated Mayflower, 244 years before the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, 335 years before Brown versus Brown, the Board of Education, a big bluff-bowed ship sailed up the River James and landed the first generation of African Americans in Jamestown, West Virginia. So if anybody from Jamestown, West Virginia, all this happened during that time frame. You may be able to get your hands on this. It may still be in print somewhere, I don't know, but I got this in 1992, and it just goes on to talk about all those things that were going on during that time frame. So that was number one. And on the back here is number two. It talks about the founding of Black America. Okay, I'm not going to just read each one of these, but Nat Turner's War. So many things were going on during concerning African American history. The fourth important thing, it says free at last. This was when the passage of the 13th Amendment ended, and as an African American, you know that was the end of slavery. Okay, let's see what number 5 is. So this just goes on here, and it talks about everything that was going on all the way through the Great Migration. As a matter of fact, the Great Migration was last year's theme for African American history. Great Migration. I had a ball with that. We did so many different things depicting the Great Migration. In fact, I even went out on the base and helped out with some stuff out there. So that was fun for me. And number 7, Brown versus the Board of Education. Number 8, Montgomery and the Freedom Movement. Of course, you know that young lady right there is Miss Rosa. Miss Rosa Parks was very instrumental in that. And we had some good and some negative things happen. That's life. That's just part of life. And we don't repeat history or study history to bring those things up. We have to repeat it. We have to bring it up in order to make things better and to educate ourselves as to what happened. So this talks about Little Rock. We know what happened there. So, but these, as far as African American history is concerned, these things at that time, according to Lerone Bennett, were 10 of the most important things that happened during that time frame. And of course, this last one here, the 10th one, Memphis and the Triumph of the Spirit. So here's the deal, y'all. Up to that point in 1992 when this was written, so we know many other things have happened, but this is history. This 1992, that's what, 30 years ago? So, but this is just good history. So if you're interested in having this or a copy of this, go ahead and, probably hit the library. You may be able to find a copy of it in your local library, or maybe, someone near you may even have a copy of it. But those are just a couple of things that I want to share with you. And what I plan on doing throughout the month, as I am cooking and, doing different foods, I'll give y'all a couple of little Black history tips or notes, or a little bit of history, just to share, just to be able to share. And I think a lot of it is for me, just to help me out, because I tell you what, it's hard to sit on all this stuff. I have boxes and stacks of historical things as far as African American history is concerned. I've got all these pictures, and I just am just chomping at the bit to get them displayed somewhere. But again, like I said, I'm not able to do the display this year, so I'm just going to have to be satisfied with talking to y'all about it. So if y'all will listen to me, I'm going to give you some Black History facts as often as I can. I did have another, oh, here we go, right here. I got a very important picture here. Last and certainly not least, Miss Harriet Tubman. As you know, there's a movie out about Miss Harriet Tubman. I have not gone to see it, but I do plan to. So, as many of you can, there's a lot of history there. So we just take advantage. We need to take advantage of some of the things that will, teach us how to, or not teach us how to, but teach us some things about Black history or African American history. And let me see. I'm trying to remember. The theme this year is the African American Revolt. That is the theme for this year. Last year, it was the Great Migration. Like I said, I enjoyed so much planning and erecting that display around that theme. It was really, really good. I presented parts of it to you all, if you all can remember that. But anyway, I'm going to get back to the stove. This is pre-Sunday dinner. So we're going to get back to Sunday dinner, and one day during the week, I will be presenting some more Black History facts. So thank y'all so much for listening and for tuning in with me. And please get your pens and paper out. If you have questions, y'all can ask them, and I'll try to answer them as much as I can. So thank y'all so much for supporting what we do on this channel. So I gotta get in this kitchen and get this Sunday dinner going. So, toodles, see you in the kitchen. So, on the menu today is going to be fried chicken. My pan fried chicken. I'm going to use some Tyson chicken. And I'm going to do some shrimp fried rice. Some green beans, and of course y'all know I'm going to make a pan of cornbread. I'm going to do a broccoli casserole, and let's see, what else am I doing? Oh, a sweet potato cake. I will, of course, give you the information on how to make that. I have not done a sweet potato cake in a while, so I'm going to do a sweet potato cake. So stay tuned in, and I'm getting ready to get Sunday dinner started because I can hear the whistle coming down the track in the distance, so I know I gotta get this meal done in the next couple hours so we can sit down, relax, and enjoy, and also celebrate Tony's birthday. So he'll be over here in a little while. So y'all hang around. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything prepped to get it on the stove. So hold on, and I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, we're back, and I'm gonna get started back on this meal. This right here is for my cornbread. I'm not quite ready to do it yet. And the next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to get started with my broccoli casserole. So, the beans out the way. Okay, get the eggs out the way. We'll just get right down over here where there's the broccoli. We found the broccoli. Found the broccoli, y'all. So we're going to get started on this broccoli casserole. I'm going to do a little quick cleanup. I've been doing some prep work over here. Sous Chef is working good today, y'all. Just so orderly and organized. I think I got everything laid out that I need, so I don't have to run back and forth a lot. I've got 2.5 cups of cooked broccoli, and to that I'm going to add a couple of cups of, I use the lactate milk because for whatever reason, all of a sudden it started to bother my stomach. I'm talking about whole milk started bothering my stomach. So now I use the lactate milk, and I can use like canned milk, does not bother me at all. So I'm going to use a cup of that, and then probably about a cup of just canned milk to make it a little bit creamier. And then I'm going to add some cheese to it and some breadcrumbs to it, and another cup of seasoning, and we'll be done with it, and we'll get into the oven. I don't know, the sous chef can't find the can opener. So so I'm just gonna have to make do with with the old-fashioned way. You know how you put a knife, a sharp knife on top and hit it and knock you a hole in there? Yep. This is a real kitchen, y'all. Okay. Fill the rest of that up with milk, and then I'm gonna put it on the blender. And I think that's probably all of the liquid I'm gonna need in there. Now this is egg. I was using that egg for something else, and I put some of that Goya seasoning in there, so that's what the orangey flavor is. Because I decided I almost put that for my chicken, but I don't want to put egg on chicken to fry it to make the batter. I just like the buttermilk and the flour. Because if I put the egg in there, it's going to brown too much, okay? So that's what that is, y'all. Okay. So now, the next thing that I need to do here is get me another egg going in there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do 4 eggs in there, so I can do 1 more egg. I think it'll hold it. Yeah, it does. Holds it quite well. And I am going to put just a dash of black pepper. Just a dash, y'all. You know black pepper always pulls things together. And I'm gonna put it over here on the Ninja and get it mixed up really, really good. And then we'll be ready to just mix. After this, we'll put the cheese in, and it's almost ready to go into the oven. So hang tight. Okay, y'all, I'm back, about ready to put the final touches on this broccoli casserole. Now, I have a total of 3 cups of milk in there. I've got some breadcrumbs, Italian flavored breadcrumbs that I just poured in there. And what I did was just mix everything into the blender and just let it get all smooth out. And I've got 5 eggs in there, and I'm going to put in here also some Smart Balance, about a half a cup of Smart Balance that's going to go in there. That's in place of butter, because normally y'all know I have about a whole stick of butter in there, so that's the equivalent of a stick of butter. And Smart Balance, you know, is heart healthy, so we're good with that. And also, one of the things that I'm testing and using, Greek yogurt. This non-fat Greek yogurt is wonderful. I made some dressing out of it the other night. Made a real good dressing that I used some avocado and some spinach in, and just whipped it up and put a few other seasonings. So it's just a big old tub of non-fat Greek yogurt. It's real nice and thick. We'll put a little bit of juice in there. So I'm going to use, like I said, about maybe, I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt in there, because it has like almost a taste, like, to me it tastes just as good, if not better, than sour cream to me. So I was glad to make that discovery. I'm not going to blend it in with anything. I'm just going to put it right in there just like that. And you know, we still got the cheese to put in, so this is going to be nice and cheesy breezy. So I'm going to get it stirred up real good. That smells good, and it's not even baking yet, y'all. Wow. Well, it smells sort of good, y'all. Get that butter all stirred up in there. And y'all know what I always say, you know, when cooking stuff like this, especially when I do stuff in the test kitchen, I've got these little ramekins here. What I'm going to do before I need to see how my mixture is going to do. What I actually did was just went ahead and put about a tablespoon in one of those little ramekins and throw it in the microwave for about 30 seconds. And I want to see what the consistency is. That'll let me know if I need to add some more thickener, like the breadcrumbs, to it. And also if I need any more salt in there or anything like that. So we're just taste testing right now. Okay. Usually 30 seconds will do it. So I shall return. Okay, y'all, I'm back. I'm doing a little bit more test kitchen stuff. Now, I backed off a cup of the milk because I had 3 cups. Actually, 2 cups is all we need in there, and then put a tablespoon of flour to thicken, and it brings it to. That's why it's good. Like I said, when you're trying a new recipe, you have to test it out. Test it out. And that's exactly what I did. And also a half a teaspoon of salt goes in there. Still put your breadcrumbs because it just adds that extra burst of flavor in there. Okay. So this is ready to go into a baking dish, and I'm going to bake it for about 45 minutes on 375. Let's see now, what baking dish shall I use? This is about 6 cups of mix, so I am going to use, let's see. Hey girl, hey boy. I'm going to put about 1/4 of a cup. Y'all know I love lots of cheese. I'm going to put some of this Romano cheese in there. About 1/4 of a cup in there. Oops. About all this in there. Man, you getting taller and taller. Shit.
I know. You must be
since last year.
Sticks.
Yeah, he got taller since last week. What was that?
Your cousin will be here, but she's at her G-Par's house.
Oh, it's okay. We got to spend some of the other day.
She hung out with me this weekend. I was shocked that y'all had a party.
He said, "Oh, she did. She didn't even tell y'all
She
this."
didn't tell us.
Well,
We tried to call you.
but you know what? I think she wanted me to herself this weekend. Y'all can hang out another weekend.
Ooh, can we hang out this Friday that's coming up?
No, this Friday coming up, I'm gonna be doing something. You know, I have companionship.
Okay, let's get this done out. Okay, people, we're gonna get this casserole in here. We need to go ahead and get it in the pan. Are y'all? Yeah, y'all still rolling. That was Man and Tania just came in, so we had to chitter chatter with them a little bit. Okay, so we got the casserole in the pan, ready to go into the oven for about a good 45 minutes. And I'm just gonna sprinkle the rest of this cheese right on top. This is a creamy melt. It's called Philadelphia creamy melt, and it's supposed to be, I guess, 3 cans of cheddar cheese. It tastes pretty good. So this is 1 pound of cheese. So everything is basically about 1 pound. Okay. We're gonna sprinkle some more of that Romano right on top of it, and I'm just gonna place a piece of foil on top, not wrap it tight, but just gonna lay a piece on top so that cheese will stay nice and creamy for me. And it's gonna go into a 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes, and we'll let you see what it looks like in a few. Okay, by popular demand, they're back again. Tara's beans. What it is depending on how many beans. Okay, this is gonna be like 3 pounds of beans. They're frozen beans that I buy from Sam's Club. Big old bag for $7. You get 5 1-pound bags in there, and all it is the beans, onions, and sugar. So we're gonna just, no water. You don't add water to it. So you go ahead and heat that oil up. And I do oil and butter. Pour the beans right in. Okay, that's 2 pounds of. I'm gonna go ahead and put 3 pounds because everybody likes them and they will go. If there's some left over, they'll get eaten up tomorrow sometime. So the other thing that I do with them, I chop an onion up in it. So I'm just gonna, y'all can chop it on your cutting board, kind of however you want to do it. I'm gonna chop it right here into the pan like so. And I've got 2 pounds already in there, so I'm just gonna cut this one up just like this. Just slice it so it'll be nice little slices. No particular order, no particular shape. Just sort of chopping, okay? Sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder in there, like so. Now I'm gonna put a little bit of salt in there. This is the Himalayan pink salt, about a half a teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt in there. Then I'm going to go ahead on and put my other bag of beans in there. So this is like 3 pounds of beans in that container. So I'll cut the rest of the onions. It's just as simple. I mean, it's just not difficult at all. And they're going to cook for about an hour, 45 minutes. If you want yours cooked less time, you know, you can do it. Some people like theirs kind of crispy, but I don't think, because these are frozen, they're not going to be crispy to my knowledge. So try, if you want to turn them off at 45 minutes, try that. If they're seasoned well and cooked to the texture that you like, then they're done. Put a little bit more garlic, just a little touch now, garlic powder. Put that other half a teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt in there. You're going to put a couple tablespoons of sugar, brown sugar, white sugar. I use brown sugar. And the next thing I'm going to do is start stirring them. You notice I haven't stirred them at all yet. I'm just letting them cook long enough so that juice will start to form in there from the beans. That's why you don't need any water at all. And I've got that heat on high, so just stir them from the bottom, like so. And let everything sort of get incorporated. And once you know everything has been touched by the butter and the oil, gonna let them do like this for about a good 10-12 minutes, and then you turn it all the way down and just let them simmer. Let them simmer, 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 and they will be wonderful. Your family will love them. No doubt in my mind about it. Yum, yum, yummy. I'm gonna cover it because I need to move on to something else. But after about another 10 minutes, I'm going to turn that heat down and just let them simmer. So the beans are doing what beans do. Let's see. I think that casserole's been in now. I should have put the timer on it. We're going to do, I said 45 minutes. It's probably been in there 10, so we're good to go. Alright, now we're going to start dropping this chicken. I got my chicken seasoned. I got my buttermilk wash ready. I got my flour batter ready. Now I'm going to put the grease in, let it get nice and hot. Not too hot, because you know with the buttermilk base on there, putting it in too hot grease is going to burn. So once you get that grease, bring that grease up real nice and hot, then you turn it back down so you can fry it, cover it, and it'll brown beautifully. So hold on just a second, let me go get everything set up for that. Okay, y'all, it's time to get this chicken in the pan, get it going, get it frying.
I think I would look good with a real big.
So, we're going to put, okay. Now remember I told you get that grease good and hot, but then you got to back that heat off of it so that your batter on it won't burn. You don't want it to get brown before it gets done. And we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. This is how Mama fried her chicken. My pan-fried chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, that's a little bit too hot. So we're going to let that back that heat off. You know what? Because it's so hot, because I'm using my big cast iron skillet. That skillet holds the heat, so I can leave that. I'm going to have to leave that off for about 10 minutes and come back to it, so I'll be back. Okay, everything's cooled down now, y'all. I got the chicken in the pan, so it's going to take a good 20 minutes to cook, 20-25 minutes. These are good sized legs, and we're going to put a lid on them. And while they're cooking on the outside, they'll be cooking on the inside as well. So we're going to cover them and let them pan fry. You know what? I'm just going to turn the heat back on. So please be careful. If you're going to try this, the pan has got to be very hot. But you got to back that heat back off before you put that chicken in there so it won't brown too quick. So we're going to let that go ahead and continue to fry. And I'm going to get everything prepped up now to go ahead and start my shrimp fried rice. So I'll return with the rice. I don't think I've done shrimp fried rice in a while, y'all, so take notes. Okay, y'all, here we are. I'm having to turn this chicken already. Like I said, be very careful with that heat when you're dealing with cooking with anything with milk. That's why I don't do the egg wash, because it just browns really fast. And what you have to do, even with the milk, you got to continue to turn it. See how pretty and brown those are? Now, see, these will have to be turned 2 or 3 times, but you have to watch that. That's why you can't walk away. Once you start cooking it, you have to stay by it so you can look through there and look around the edges and see when it needs to be turned again. So he's asked you what's a what? She must have she must have picked them up first. I don't ask me.
Okay,
Don't ask me, honey. Don't ask me because you know what? I'm gonna ask her. You ain't going. I'm gonna ask her. You know why would you?
That's a good response.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why would you okay, never mind.
Unless you just right over by where they are.
I mean, and that's fine, but you
Yeah.
know what, Lotto said time.
And gas. I don't care about shit. What? Now do I have that camera on? Yep. Turn that off. Thought sure I had to turn it. Didn't go. Hey y'all, I'm back getting ready to drop these shrimp and make the shrimp fried rice. I gotta start out, first with my onion and green pepper. 1 large green onion, 1 large sweet onion, and half of a green pepper. Okay, lots of nice peppers and onions in the mix. Okay, so we got that heat all the way on high, and we're gonna saute them to a point, and then we'll start dropping the shrimp in, because you know it doesn't take that long for shrimp to cook. Remember, shrimp is done enough when it turns opaque, that pinkish, orangey, opaquish color. Okay, so I got 2 pounds of shrimp to drop in here. So we're gonna go ahead and let and I'm gonna season them with. I bought this new seasoning from it is called Gourmet Collection Seafood Spectacular. I'll let y'all know how well it tastes. I bought this at I think I was at TJ Maxx or somewhere. You know, they have a little spice section, and it looked good to me, so I purchased it. So we're going to see how it works out. So meanwhile, we're just gonna let this cook about 5 or 10 minutes between that and the shrimp. About 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're gonna start adding the rice, and then you got what? Shrimp fried rice. It's not that very difficult. You just cook the rice according to the recipe. Let it cool down real good. Some people rinse their rice. Chef's choice. And then chop your onions and peppers, saute them in some butter and a little bit of oil. And then when they get to a certain point, saute your shrimp. And when they get turned opaque, start stirring your rice in and add a little bit more seasoning to it, and you got shrimp fried rice. So I'll be back, y'all. Okay, broccoli casserole is done. It's out of the oven, so I'm going to set it off to the side, y'all. We're going to move right along with the shrimp fried. Okay, y'all, time to get the shrimp going. I'm putting the shrimp in. I'm just going to dump my all in there on that side and just let them start to cook and stir. Now, they're going to create some little bit of juice in there. If it's too much, I'll pour it off. But keep that heat turned all the way up, because it's going to start to cool off, because that shrimp is going to cool it off. So just keep it going on high, just like that. And then when the shrimp is done, enough, we'll mix them in with the onions and then start putting the rice in. We're almost there, y'all. So we're just going to keep the train rolling, bus moving, whatever, and we'll be back. Okay, y'all, the shrimp are cooking right along. I'm starting to take out that first pan of chicken, and we're going to get ready to put in the second pan. Whew. Look at that nice crust. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Like I said, these chicken legs are pretty good size, so I cook them. These cooked about 25 minutes total. Make sure they're good and done. Good and done. I think I'm going to end up with having 3 different pans. I thought I was going to have 2 pans, but I think I got 21 legs. 21 legs. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get that heat going because I backed that heat off. But remember I told you you need to have that heat all the way up. And then go back through and make sure that you get out all your Crispies. Now these little Crispies like at Church's Chicken when I was growing up, honey, we used to buy this crust about a bag full. Them little crusty side, those are mine. You hear me, Tanya? They're mine. I like them Crispies. I can eat a few every once in a while. Okay. So, we're going to let that oil heat back up all the way through again. And then we're going to start putting in the next batch. The shrimp, I think, are done. So I can start now putting the rice in. Yep. Yummy. Okay, that chicken is ready for the world, y'all. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, we're going to start adding the rice to the shrimp. Okay, and I don't know. We're going to do incorporate the rice into the shrimp. Wow, shrimp fried rice, y'all. Was almost there. Ooh, I'm going to save Tania a little rice. She'll eat shrimp. I'll make us some gravy or something. Gravy or something.
Oh, that's a pretty cool.
Okay, party people. Ow, that's hot. Really, really hot. Hey, y'all, Tony's birthday dinner's ready, but they got into the food before I could get y'all the last shot. The shrimp fried rice is done, the cornbread is done, the green beans are done, the fried chicken is done, and the broccoli casserole. Everything is done. But I didn't get a chance to show it before they got into it, so I'm gonna fix my plate and show it to y'all. How about that? Okay, so the other thing too, I'm trying to make a sweet potato pie. And what you do right here, you put this is a box of yellow cake mix with 1 stick of butter. Just mix it and then press it in the bottom of the pan. And then a large can of sweet potatoes is what's usually used. So I'm going to use like 3 cups of sweet potatoes to put on top of here. And it's going to be like baked like sweet potato. And then the bottom is going to, the cake mix is going to be the crust. And you just make a regular pie filling. And just do that box of cake mix, and we're going to bake it up, and that's going to be our dessert today. So I'll be right back with my plate so y'all can actually see what I cook.
I told him, I said, no, that's not my brother. I
Okay, y'all, dinner is served. It's on my plate. I'm getting ready to sit back, relax, and enjoy this meal. They got to it before I could do the whole meal off the stove. But here we go. It's the fried chicken, the string beans, shrimp fried rice, um, broccoli salad, and of course, you know I got my cornbread. So listen, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. And until I decide to cook again, y'all, keep those prayers going up now so the blessings will continue to come down. Keep those prayers going up so the blessings will continue to come down. Toodaloo.
And so the thing of it